James Tamou is a massive human being, and he is part of the Penrith Panthers. Now, he's got family that are around here, and he, in fact, was part of some firefighting efforts. He will be one of those stars that will be at that game in a few weeks' time. We had a chance to chat a bit earlier in the day.
So I was down in Braidwood at the in-laws farm there, and obviously Braidwood's not far from Batemans Bay, and you know, just waking up in the morning, it was red, and you know, in the middle of the day, it was quite dark. So we knew how serious it'll get. So we just made sure everything was right for the farm and the house, and then you know, it didn't quite reach the farm, which was good. So we thought we'd jump in the truck and go have a look, and yeah, we got pretty close.
What, I mean, you're a bloke who obviously for a living is used to big pressure situations, physically required to run into man mountains. Were you surprised at how the situation affected you? Are you the type of person who is open about the emotion of that day?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, Paul, you're exactly right. Like the pre-season training, this was over Christmas. We did six weeks prior to Christmas of pretty intense training, so you know, I was actually quite looking forward to jumping in the truck, and you know, I thought I'd be all right and handle myself and go and helping people. But you know, some of the days we'd do 8-hour, 10-hour days, and you know, I was just spent. And talking to some of the RFSs, you know, some of them doing 12-hour days, just because they were a bit thin on numbers. So, and after those 10-hour days from myself and my brother-in-laws and my father-in-law, you know, we were spent. And I think, you know, it wasn't physically, it was just mentally, just always had to be on. The fires just spread like crazy, and we were pretty close there at some points where we had to keep our eyes up, you know, from falling branches and things like that.
Now, it might seem like a naive question to anyone who is a firefighter, but for those of us that haven't, I'd imagine that the extra pressure, apart from trying to put something out and move something away, is you are acutely aware of the hope and expectation that, say, the people whose home you are trying to defend, which means you defend it as if it's your own. Is that something that you have to deal with as well, that it's not just, you know, the task of putting out the fire, it's, geez, these people really, really, really hope that I can do this?
Yeah, absolutely, and we didn't want to let anyone down. You know, by some of the days there at the end, we had ladies coming up and, you know, giving us a big kiss and a hug, and you know, just something small like that, a gesture like that, made it all worth it. Knowing that you were there to protect their homes, and knowing that, you know, someone's life, you know, life is on the line, sort of thing. So, you know, all that made it worth it, and I'm sure some of the RFSs who, you know, were retirees, you know, some of them who look like they just put in hours and hours of work, you know, I'm sure that's why they did it as well. And it wasn't anything, you know, it was just pretty much, like you said, just putting out the fires, moving on to the next part, putting out the fires, and you know, some of it you won't even finish it, it'll start back up to the spot you thought you had defended. So it was pretty, you know, monotonous, but you know, those are sort of the things I had to deal with, and I got a taste of it.
Now, what affection do you have for, apart from the father-in-law, what affection do you have for Batemans Bay now, and do you feel, well, like you want to use some of your profile to give back and to make sure people come here for a holiday?
Oh, absolutely. When we got back to training, I think January the 6th we started back, and to hear the Panthers had got on board, that they wanted to raise some money, have fundraisers and stuff of that nature, and then to hear that the NRL were moving our trial against the Parramatta Eels to bigger, you know, that I was very much impressed for what, you know, what they wanted to do, and I was very keen to use my profile, I guess, you know, to get as much people down there as much as possible. You know, not only myself and the Panthers, but also, you know, Parramatta fans and fans of rugby league, that we can get people to the communities and hopefully spending money. We'll be down there Wednesday, so we'll be doing our part in small communities, and hopefully get people down there, so you know, we can sort of build the communities back up.
Well, we'll make sure that everyone's got the details of how they can get their tickets, the where, the whens and all the rest of it. But apart from anything else, there must be plenty of teammates who are keen to go to the places that you fought those fires over summer, mate.
Yeah, mate. When some of the boys found out, they were pretty keen themselves. A lot of them actually said, they couldn't enjoy their holiday or enjoy their break, without thinking this was going on in Australia. So, it was pretty pleasing to hear. Obviously, some people didn't. The devastation that was caused, some people didn't get that break or that nice Christmas. So. But yeah, no, some of the boys are very keen, and a few of us, actually keen to help out, anywhere we can. I know myself and my family, we've been very upbeat in, fundraisers, putting packs together and trying to help the animals and stuff like that. So we've been very, very keen on that part, and I know a few of the boys have been as well.
All right, February 29, the Sapphire Trial is what they're going to call it, which is between Penrith, Parramatta. It'll be happening in Bega, just down the road from here. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And about this time next week, James and all of the team will be in and around Bega. James Tamou's not a hard bloke to find. Just look up. I remember catching the same flight as you when you were up at the Cowboys, and dear God, there was like half of you more than the tallest person who was there. So you're not a hard bloke to find. But James, thank you so much for everything that you threw into this summer, and good on you for supporting the community by coming back next week.
Mate, it was absolutely my pleasure, and can't wait for next week.